Many thanks for making time to speak to us, Richard. Rand is stronger against the dollar, at least for the interim time here that we're talking about. But earnings per share really not good. Just walk us through the numbers here.
Yeah, so Hulamin is a business that essentially trades in dollars. So the weaker the rand against the dollar, the more rands we make. And in this period, the rand was about 7% stronger on average than the corresponding period last year, and consequently, from a leverage point of view, our earnings are quite sharply down. Although the business is very healthy at an operational level, we're doing really well. Our plant is very, very efficient, very productive. So a difficult period out in the externalities, the currency, the metal price, the tariffs and stuff in the United States. But inside our business, we're a very healthy business.
Right. You do report in your results that that exports to the US accounted for 22%. And I just maybe give us the extent of the impact of those steel and aluminium tariff prices on the business, and really how you plan on mitigating those challenges.
Yeah. So it's really a story of two parts. On the one hand, 22% of our sales are in the United States. On the other hand, 78% of our sales are not in the United States. Now, what's happened is that most of the tariff actions in the United States are actually against China, not against other countries. And China was the bulk of the supply into the United States. Now that that's been curtailed with a range of different tariffs, there are numerous niches that are appearing in the United States where there's now no longer sufficient supply into the United States. And we're actually doing quite well in the United States in spite of these tariffs. The problem is, in the 78% of the market, which is not the United States, now all of a sudden there's enhanced competition from our Chinese competitors, who now have had some of the biggest markets in the world in the United States closed to them. So there's increasing competition in South Africa, in the rest of Africa, in Australia, in South America, in Europe, where we sell the bulk of our sales.
Right. Let's talk about some of the free cash flow. This is actually very striking for me. We're looking at what, 75 million rand. What is going into this, and how are you arriving at this particular figure? Just give us a sense of this.
Yeah, so over the last 3 years, we've actually returned over 800 million rand of free cash flow. Typically what happens, working capital stock absorbs cash, withdraws cash, and we focused on, because of the volatility in our earnings of the currency and the metal price, delivering cash to shareholders is a real priority. And we've managed over the last 3 years particularly to deliver consistently free cash, which has paid down our borrowings from the bank. So we're now only trading at a 6% debt equity level, which means we've paid down our borrowings very significantly over the last couple of years.
Now, given the current geopolitical developments and the current climate that you've just spoken about, what's the outlook for the business? And is there really going to be a strategic drive to perhaps enter markets that you haven't necessarily ventured into before?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, our operation back in Pietermaritzburg, the factory, is performing really well. And we're in a very fortunate position that as a business we can sell as much as we can make. And we've got a full order book for the second half of the year. All our capacity is sold. So for the second half of the year, we're quite optimistic. The dollar selling prices are a little bit higher on average in the second half compared to the first half. So things are looking good for the second half of the year. Beyond that, things are quite uncertain, and we don't really know how trading conditions are going to change in the United States and the rest of the world thereafter. But we do have a number of growth plans. We've got some partnerships busy emerging with some other competitors around the world. So they're exciting growth prospects for Hulamin going forward.
Richard, we did see Minister Davis try to actually reach out to the White House and try to make a point for at least South Africa and South African companies. Is the private sector, at least Hulamin here, part of this conversation? Do you actually sit down with the minister and try to put your grievances out there?
Very much so. I've personally met with the minister's direct reports on 3 occasions in the first half of this year. we're working very closely with the Department of Trade and Industry and a few other organs of government to ensure that we speak with one voice. So this is very important to Hulamin. And we're quite optimistic that working together we'll achieve a whole lot more than working separately.
Brilliant. We've been speaking there to the CEO of Hulamin, Richard Jacob.